episode motherfucking 60. I really just like making a big deal out of even numbers. So I'm pretty fucking excited. Dynamite. Raw and SmackDown a little bit. And I'm going to talk about how I was right all along. Let's do this. Oh, man. Good evening, everybody. Episode 60 smells like Wrasslin. Your host, Eric, here to talk more about what we know and love, wrestling. Not really a lot to talk about. It's been a relatively quiet week in terms of wrestling news. I mean, a lot of the big excitement came last week with the hopes and thoughts of CM Punk coming back to AEW. Has now been muddled in talks of a brand split done to separate the Elite and CM Punk. I mean, listen. We should probably just talk about this now. I am all for AEW having an additional television show. Apparently, the plan is it's a 2-hour show, Saturday nights from, I think, 8 to 10, I think is what I hear, 8 to 10, or 9 to 11, I don't know. But I've been saying this since the very beginning. The AEW roster is so big, and there's just not enough television time to do worthwhile storylines for everyone that they have. All right, that much we know is clear. This 2-hour show, I mean, listen, is Saturday night the greatest time slot? No, not really. I mean, you're always going to be competing against people actually going out on Saturday nights. UFC events are on Saturday nights. You'll probably end up competing with certain WWE events on Saturday nights. That kind of puts Tony Khan in a position where he's going to have to do pay-per-views on Sundays. And I always thought that he was trying to avoid that because of football. So I don't really know what this is going to mean going forward with AEW pay-per-views and what day of the week they're going to put those on. But the fact of the matter is, creatively, this company needed a 2-hour show, and I'm going to be very specific about this. A 2-hour show that is booked as strongly as Dynamite. Now, your thought, like anyone's personal thoughts on how well Dynamite's being booked, notwithstanding, I'm talking about like actual things that progress storyline and actual matches that mean something tend to happen on Dynamite. It makes me want to watch it because I know that all the worthwhile stuff, storyline-wise and in-ring-wise, happens on Dynamite. I already know that Rampage is just kind of another night of wrestling and it's just really like just to see guys who could work go. Like, I get that to an extent, but like, it's not going to be must-watch television for me. I'm going to DVR it. I'm going to wait until other people have seen it and people are just like, yo, there was a banger match on Rampage. I'm going to check it out. Dynamite I check out for a number of reasons. One, it's my must-watch show on Wednesdays. I mean, granted, it would normally be Snowfall, which I actually sacrifice to do this podcast. So I demand thanks for actually skipping the actual show finale of Snowfall so I could do this podcast. One of my favorite shows. But like Dynamite, I know is must-watch television. If a major angle is going to happen, I know it's going to happen on Dynamite. If it's not going to happen on Dynamite, it's going to happen on a pay-per-view, which I'm probably already buying. So Collision, they need to prove to me in the booking consistently that it's a show worth watching. I don't need a 2-hour Rampage. You know what I mean? So now, an argument could be made, why didn't they just make Ring of Honor the 2-hour show? In my honest opinion, I think it's just they don't want to oversaturate the wrestling brands that are happening on these channels. I think it's always stronger to put out that one main product, which is AEW, and then Ring of Honor, I mean, you could use for so many different purposes outside of actually putting them on television. I like to see Ring of Honor become some sort of NXT for AEW. Guys that are coming in from the indies, they're doing great, worthwhile storylines. Guys that you feel that are being built up to be someone that you're going to want to care about when you watch Dynamite and when you watch Collision. Like, I feel like that would be I feel like Ring of Honor is a good leaping off point. It's a brand that has legacy and notoriety and a fan base that's willing to watch a show that's structured like NXT. You guys need to remember, the majority, in my humble opinion, the majority of the AEW fan base is is the original NXT Black and Gold crowd. It's the same kind of wrestling. It's the same kind of wrestling, and it's the same kind of like indie booking. Now, granted, I will always say that for me, the best professional wrestling that I saw, that I liked watching, that actually got me watching week after week, nonstop, never missing an episode, was the like hardcore NXT Black and Gold from like 2015 to 2019. For me, that was the best time to be a wrestling fan. I mean, not only that, but like Omega and the Bullet Club were really popping off in New Japan. Ring of Honor was doing awesome. Cody was in the Bullet Club. Like, there was a lot of great stuff. And like, when NXT finally went and started doing like shows in stadiums, like the takeovers became a touring thing. I mean, that was just the creme de la creme. When they started doing house shows, I was at the first NXT house show in New York. It was in an armory up in Albany, and it was awesome. They had everybody. I still have footage to this day. It was the greatest. It was one of the closest I ever got to the ring because we actually got ringside seats. There was me and the barricade. That's it. And it was awesome. I got to see Kevin Owens, I think, and Finn Balor and Sami Zayn have like a fatal four-way. Charlotte and Sasha fought. I mean, it was a great show. I mean, that was like peak when you had Big Cass and Enzo. Like, that was like peak of their run at the time. So I gotta say, like, it was definitely like that was great. Like, that's the AEW, the crowd that you have right now. So if you were to try and recreate that kind of NXT magic with Ring of Honor and get these like young, like indie guys, like this is where Top Flight should be. You know what I mean? This is where like the Guns should be. They should already be establishing, like, yeah, you know what, actually, you might be right, Josh, 2012 to 2019. I might be wrong on that one. It might have been a longer period of time. Where was I going? Oh yeah, like Top Flight, the Guns. I mean, to the extent you could even say the Acclaimed could have been on there. I mean, they ended up really like catching fire big time, and they did the right thing putting the belts on them. Like, they capitalized on it. When they had that match with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, I think it was at the last All Out, if I'm not mistaken, or was that Full Gear? That was some great shit, you know? Like, that was a great leaping off point for them. But an argument could be made that, like, if they would have spent more time in, like, an undercard kind of deal, like a Ring of Honor, they could even be bigger than they are now because they would have built up that credibility. You know, they would have built it up a little bit deeper before they were given, like, main roster AEW tag championships. But all in all, I feel like it ended up working well for the Acclaim. I just don't think anybody saw the Guns taking the belts off of them. And to be quite honest, when they came out with that Many Men, intro on Dynamite, that was probably the most legit that the Guns had ever looked. And I feel like just when they had finally found something, you know what I mean, that like then the belts were taken from them. And I feel like if you could kind of recapture that moment and the match that they had with FTR, if you could really recapture that and really give them like storylines to sink into and matches that they are consistently in and storylines that people consistently care about, like the Guns are 100% a great addition to the AEW tag division. You know what I mean? Like, I like them. But, you know, like, this Collision thing, like, it needed to happen. Now, whether or not they're actually splitting the brands because of CM Punk, I mean, that's yet to be confirmed. It's not like Tony Khan's come out and said, hey, so listen, we're going to split the brands. Yeah, Punk's going to be on one brand, and we're not going to ever have him interact with the Elite, and we're going to have two different touring buses and this and that for one guy. I mean, I think it's a little far-fetched. I mean, business-wise, to create an entire other show for one person, I think is dumb. And I don't think Tony Khan is an idiot. You know what I mean? I may not agree with all the things that he does, but I don't think he's an idiot. And I think to split up a roster because one guy can't get along with another group of guys. So like grown men we're talking about here. Grown men that stand to make millions of dollars if they put their shit aside and actually work. I mean, hey, listen. I was not there. I don't know what was the real reason that all this went down between Punk and the Elite. You know what I mean? So I don't know if like either have done something that the other considers unforgivable, and it's laughable for people to be saying, "Oh, they should just get together and make money." I mean, hey, like I hate enough people that I don't even fucking talk to them anymore. I don't care how much money you would give me. So I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. But I don't know. It remains to be seen. It looks like there's a Saturday slot TV taping for AEW sometime in June. So we will see. And not gonna lie, if you want to launch a new show, you do what you did with Rampage and you tease the debut of CM Punk, the re-debut of CM Punk, the return of CM Punk. You know what I mean? So it is very possible that Saturday show it will mark Collision and also mark the return of CM Punk. Now, you know, you could split the titles up. You know what I mean? You could put the TNT title on Dynamite. You could put the international title on Collision. You could put the trios titles on Collision, and you could put the tag champs, the tag titles on Dynamite. You put the TBS title on one show. You put the AEW Women's title on the other, and then you have the AEW champ be a special attraction for both shows. You book them like how they do Roman. You know what I mean? You make it so that whenever the champ shows up, it's a big deal, you know? And whoever he's talking to is going to be someone that you're supposed to take seriously, and it's supposed to be the main storyline out of both brands. I feel like that's how it works. Like me, like I don't, like as soon as they fucked up the storyline with Cody, there goes me watching Raw. Obviously, they're going to do Cody versus Brock. Fine, wake me when someone's going to actually take the belt off of Roman. That's all I fucking care about. Roman's had the belt for almost 1,000 fucking days. Like, here's the great part. So, you got people who are, you know, like like wrestling journalists out there, which is a fucking laughable term because the entire industry are literally a bunch of jokes at this point. It's just marks who are in it for themselves. So, it's laughable. So, now they're saying, well, you know, like, what are you supposed to do with Roman now that Cody didn't win? You know, there's nothing for him to do. If Cody won, there'd be stuff for him to do. Who was fucking saying that for fucking weeks? I was. Remember what I kept on saying? There needs to be a 3-act arc to every championship. To every championship reign. Now, Roman is like the ending of Return of the King. It was like 6 different endings before it finally finished. When is this going to be over? We thought it was going to be with Drew McIntyre in front of his home country. No. We thought it was going to be in front of Cody after everybody wanted Cody. They built him up. He won the Rumble. All this shit. No. Nothing. There's nothing more that you could do with Roman Reigns. There's no other contender that you could put in front of him that anyone would take as seriously as Cody. Okay? So it's like, what are you going to do with him now? He's not going to be at Backlash in Puerto Rico. The main event of that is probably going to be Cody versus Brock. So, like, after Cody beats Brock, then what? Is he going to have to beat Seth again? Are you just going to put all these random people in his way to waylay him, and then Roman's just going to be sitting on the title, just waiting for Cody? It doesn't make any sense. WWE 110% dropped the ball by not giving the belt to Cody at WrestleMania. 110% dropped the ball. And anybody who kept on fishing around the idea, Roman should win. I think it's a good idea Roman should win. It was never, in any scenario, a good idea for Roman to win. Never. He's had the belt for 900 days. He hasn't held it for 60 days or 100 days. He hasn't held it for 6 months. He hasn't just held it for a year or 16 months. Or he's held it for he's held it for long enough. You know? We're at now close to 3 years Over 3 years. 3 years. This is the generation of now. We are a society about instant gratification. And we haven't been gratified by anyone outside of Roman to the point now where it's old hat. And saying, oh, we're doing long-term storytelling. No. At 900 days, you want to do long-term storytelling? At 900-something days, we have a story to tell? Suck my dick. That's unbelievable. That is the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard. We have a story to tell. Let's wait for this to play out. I waited for this to play out. It was supposed to play out at WrestleMania, people. It was supposed to play out at WrestleMania, and Cody was supposed to win, and we were going to be done with all this. And we were going to see new things. We were going to see a new champion, new fresh faces. It opened up the possibility of anybody being champion. Now, it's just Roman, king of the jobbers. Once again, king of a bunch of fucking nobodies. King of a bunch of upper mid-carders. That's where we're at. Doom, Bullet Chain's in the chat. He's not watching Collision if they book it like they booked the TNT title. He's 100% correct. The TNT title's been booked like a joke. I mean, I like the fact that Powerhouse Hobbs was beating people, but I don't appreciate the fact that the TNT title is the Rampage title. It just gets defended on Rampage. He barely defended it. Does something happen with the Islanders? Because I feel like my people are going nuts right now. Hold on a second here. Ah! They lost in overtime. God damn it. Anywho. It needs to be booked more seriously. Hobbs should, but this is the problem. There's not enough television time for any of these titles to be booked as seriously as they should. They only have enough television time to maybe book 1 or 2 titles seriously. That's it. What was the build like to the Elite versus House of Black? They tried. They really tried, but it was a half-hearted try. It was not a full-force try. It was not, we're going to take time to actually tell a story. No, they just kind of booked the House of Black to beat every freaking random trios team that they had while the Elite were out. Then the Elite had a couple of strong matches on Rampage to defend the titles. They have already conditioned me to believe if it's on Rampage, it's not important. So if you're going to have your titles defended on Rampage, I'm going to think that the titles aren't important. Sorry. Collision needs to come about, and they need to book it seriously. And hey, listen, it's going to be Saturday night. It is not going to get the ratings that Dynamite gets. Your best hope is that it gets more than Rampage consistently. And if they even get a hair's breadth close to Dynamite, I'd consider that a win. But these are not shows that are going to be getting 1 million people. Not going to be shows that are going to be getting 1 million at all. And then what's going to happen is that if you're going to have Punk consistently show up only on Collision, you're really going to see as to what kind of audience he could. Well, actually, it's not necessarily a fair measuring stick. You really want to put them both at the same date and the same time. So technically, you could put episodes with Punk that are on Dynamite and episodes with Punk on that episodes of Dynamite that don't have Punk and see what happens. But I don't know. But like I said, Tony hasn't said anything. So until then, all we know is that a new show is coming. It's going to be 2 hours. They haven't come out and actually said it's Collision. So I guess if you want to base it on what Tony has said, it's a 2-hour show coming out on Saturdays. That's it. And we know that there are tickets being sold to a TV taping on a lone Saturday in June. Put those dots together however you will. And to be quite honest, I know the last several weeks or last several months I've been talking about Raw and SmackDown. But to be quite honest, what they fucking did with Cody at Mania, there's nothing worth watching on that show, people. There's nothing worth watching on either of those shows. Sorry. I mean, not even Kevin and Sammy having the belts. You know what that did? That also killed the momentum for Kevin and Sammy. Because it's they didn't defeat the Bloodline. Roman's still the champ. It's a job half done. So what they're doing right now is just random bullshit with Matt Riddle. Sorry. So if you start seeing some more less and less WWE talk on there, I'll talk about it when I feel like there's something worth talking about. But right now I don't think there is. Let's talk about Dynamite. Pretty scattered card for tonight. We had the TNT title was on the line. Powerhouse Hobbs defends against Wardlow. We had the in-ring debut of Jay White versus Commander. The AEW, I guess, debut officially. He's been in the ring, but whatever. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass versus Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Ange, and Jake Hager. A lot of guys named Daddy in AEW. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker fight against Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. We hear from FTR. Chris Jericho confronts Adam Cole, and you're going to hear from the Elite. So we are going to start with the first match of the night. This is actually, it wasn't a first match. It was actually a promo. This is basically they have all the pillars in the ring again. So you got Darby Allin, you got Jungle Boy Jack Perry, you have Sammy Guevara, and you have MJF, who eventually comes into the ring. Jack Perry comes out. He comes out by himself. It looks like he's about to cut a promo. All of a sudden, Sammy Guevara's entrance music hits. And once you saw that happen, you kind of knew how it was going to go down. Obviously, as soon as Sammy was about to talk, then Darby Allin came in. Darby Allin said he's known Guevara the longest and likes him the most, but he feels like he's the least qualified to challenge for the world title since he's a follower. He said Darby Allin and Sting view each other as equals, but Sammy Guevara is a follower to Chris Jericho. He thinks that Chris Jericho is holding Sammy Guevara back. Darby Allin makes mention that he's not a part of the Sting Appreciation Society, so he kind of focuses on the vanity of Jericho and how Jericho always makes things about Jericho. Darby Allin said Jack Perry had to work the least hardest to get here since he's part of the California clique. Basically taking the fact that, his father's in Hollywood. He was a part of the PW, I think it was involved in PWG, which is obviously has a soft spot in the hearts of the Bucks. So he basically kind of coasted on the fact that with his connections and where he came from, that's pretty much how he got there. Allin said that initially he was jealous of Jack Perry, comes with a Hollywood pedigree, good looks, money, talent. And then Darby said he basically realized that nothing about Perry intimidated him. Perry says that he sees kids painting their faces like Darby Allin. He said that if they only knew what Darby Allin was really like. Perry said that Darby Allin was AEW's second choice after failing as a skateboarder. So basically just kind of said that this is really just Darby's living out his backup plan because his actual dream never really came true. Guevara's he's kind of chilling out in the corner doing his thing when Perry calls him a dirtbag. Perry says he respects Guevara for putting his body on the line, but he's still a scumbag piece of shit. So, obviously Guevara has that history of doing some, crazy shit in the ring and putting his body on the line and really almost getting himself killed. But, it was interesting seeing all these baby faces kind of throw mud at each other and talk shit about one another. We'll see. I think this would be better served as a fatal four-way, but it doesn't look like they're going to go this route. Whew, excuse me. So, let's see. Sammy Guevara says that Jack Perry hates MJF, but in reality, he's just like him. Guevara said that he and Darby Allin are two sides of the same coin, that they risk everything to make it. He said that Darby Allin is an inspiration to him because in the beginning of AEW, Darby was pretty much losing all of his matches. Then he ended up becoming a two-time TNT champion. Darby Guevara, I'm sorry, wow, that was a slip of epic proportions. He makes mention that Darby Allin was the first one out of the pillars to win a championship. So he was the TNT championship before Jungle Boy won the AEW tag champs and before MJF won the AEW championship. So technically, MJF was the last one of the pillars to win any gold. All of them had held titles before in the past. You know, Guevara is a multiple TNT champion, Darby Allin, multiple TNT champion, and Jungle Boy as a one half of the tag champions. Guevara said that basically he's done everything that Darby Allin's done, but Guevara's done it better. He's done it better. It's time for Darby Allin to be the one to sit back and watch as Sammy Guevara becomes world champion. Perry said to put it on the blogs that he's going to be the first one to become world champion. MJF's music hits. He shits on Pittsburgh for thinking Britt Baker is talented. I thought that was hysterical. MJF said he's blushing. Everyone's talking about little old him. He said that he talked to Tony Khan, and he said that there will be a Pillars tournament with the winner facing MJF at Double or Nothing for the AEW title. MJF brought out a hat. He pulls out a name as to who's going to get a bye. The bye is going to be Darby. So what that meant is Guevara and Jungle Boy fight tonight. The winner fights Darby next week, and the winner of that match fights MJF at Double or Nothing. So the next match was AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter teams up with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to defeat Ruby Soho and Toni Storm of the Outcasts, who came out accompanied by Saraya. I hate the Outcasts. I hate that faction. It just sucks. Like, I just think a bunch of chicks acting like stupid bitches and spray painting people is not entertaining to me. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry. Like, they're all talented wrestlers that just saddled with a shit gimmick. What are you gonna do? Okay. So we have breaking news on the podcast tonight. Bullet Chains in the chat is going to be challenging Wardlow for the TNT title. And I'm currently getting blown by Scarlett Johansson as we speak. Those are also two true statements. This match was stupid. Nobody cares. They fought each other, and Britt Baker got the lockjaw and got the submission for the win in front of her hometown crowd of Pittsburgh. Her family was in the front row. Big whoop-de-doo. Renee Paquette is backstage with Wardlow, saying he once had a horseman in his corner to help him out and give advice. He mentions Tully Blanchard. He said he reached out to another horseman to help him out in the ring to even the playing field because QT Marshall is out there in Powerhouse Hobbs' corner. And Arn Anderson is the guy who is coming out with Wardlow. So they paired Wardlow with Arn Anderson. I guess this goes back to MJF's promo. It looks like Wardlow is in Daddy Daycare, and it's Daddy Arn who's going to set him up. So we'll see. The Elite come back. They call out the Blackpool Combat Club. Daniel Bryan goes out on the screen, starts talking shit. This is a distraction for Castagnoli and Yuta and Moxie to attack them from behind. They end up getting the advantage and beating the shit out of them. Don Callis comes out with a chair. He runs off like a coward, but he actually is only running to the dressing room to get Konosuke Takeshita, who comes out to help even the odds and clear the ring after they were about to take out Kenny's eye with a screwdriver. So Konosuke Takeshita has now entered the fray of... can I just call you Doom? Doom, I don't want like Bullet Chains. I just prefer calling you Doom and not Bullet Chains, so I'm just going to call you Doom. It'd be great if you had a YouTube username that had Doom in it. That'd be great. So yeah, Takeshita's involved. We'll see where this is going. I guess this is going to be blood and guts, right? They haven't done one yet this year. So I guess it's blood and guts. It's going to be the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. That is an assumption. It was not booked. I am just assuming. All right, cool. And Doom wants to be called Doom, which is great. All right, let's see what's going on next. Wardlow defeats Powerhouse Hobbs to become the new TNT champion. I thought that this was pretty cool. I thought that they built up the fact that Powerhouse Hobbs was going to cheat to win very well. They had Wardlow get some really good they had Hobbs get really good near falls with Wardlow. Wardlow ends up getting Hobbs into the Powerbomb Symphony for the win. Wardlow is now the new TNT title. Immediately after he wins the belt, Christian Cage's music hits, and he comes out with the new repackaged Luchasaurus. I use the words new and repackaged loosely. He's wearing black and has a shoulder pauldron, so there you go. Whoopity-doo. Daddy Daycare. Daddy Christian helping out baby Luchasaurus there until he becomes a big boy. Jay White in his opening debut against Commander. Commander, he does some flashy shit. Jay White is awesome. I really can't wait to see what they do with him inside AEW. It looks like him and Juice Robinson are on a collision course with Ricky Starks. But I don't know really where that's going to go because, Ricky Starks is right now the odd man out. So I think he's either going to join Bullet Club or he's going to get a tag team partner. And a third person is going to join Bullet Club, and that's going to be a difference maker, and Ricky's going to get screwed over. I wouldn't be surprised if Powerhouse Hobbs joined Bullet Club. I think he would be an actual pretty good fit for them. He's already got a good name on him. He's got a title reign under his belt. He's going to be with guys like Juice Robinson and Jay White who have some name value. And it's always good for Bullet Club to have a heavy. And I like Powerhouse Hobbs. I think him joining the BC is pretty cool. It puts him in an actual legitimate faction, not like what Team Taz was. Like Team Taz was a faction, but they feuded amongst themselves for their own belts. So it was just weird. It was almost like a prototype of what the Blackpool Combat Club ended up becoming. Chris Jericho and Adam Cole have a face-to-face. Cole says he's modeled his style after Jericho and looked up to him, and now they're both in the same ring together. Cole says he has a lot of respect for Jericho. A handshake was offered from Jericho. They shook hands. Jericho said he has absolutely... Then after that, he said Jericho said he has no respect for Cole. He thinks Adam Cole's an arrogant son of a bitch. He said Cole is lucky Jericho doesn't slap him in the face for the disrespect shown last week. Cole called Jericho Jagoff and got a chant from the crowd. I guess that must be a Philly thing. Cole called him a hypocrite. Cole said that Jericho could be the demo god, but he views him as an insecure, fickle, stupid idiot. And he said that Jericho said the saying to never meet your idols is true, and if Cole was smart, he'd leave the ring. Jericho shoved Cole. They got into a fight. Daniel Garcia came in, jumped to Cole. Britt Baker came out, slapped Jericho. The Outcast came out from under the ring. They beat the shit out of Britt Baker. Daniel Garcia handcuffs Adam Cole to the bottom rope. The Outcast made Britt Baker watch Adam Cole get handcuffed. Jericho was going to hit Cole with a kendo stick. He handed it to Saraya instead, so that they forced Cole to watch Saraya beat the ever-loving shit out of Britt Baker. And there you go. They just left him there. The Hardys, Isaiah Cassidy and Hook, have a brief video package about how Stokely and the Firm should keep their phones on to find out when their match at the Hardy compound is going to take place. So it looks like the Firm are going to be fighting in the Hardys' literal backyard. Jeff said he's going to address the AEW fans for the first time since his return on Rampage. So I guess we're going to get to hear from Jeff in his own words why he was gone, which we all know why. And I guess, I don't know. So we'll see. But, like I said, the path to recovery isn't linear, so I'm glad that he has found a place that is willing to give him another chance, and I hope he makes the most of it. The Acclaimed with Billy Gunn defeat Matt Menard and Angelo Parker and Jake Hager. This was a nothing match that basically took place during a commercial break. So I guess there's always that kind of match on Dynamite that has to happen. That pretty much happened between this match and the men's match and a little bit of the Jay White match, actually. Sammy Guevara defeats Jungle Boy Jack Perry. These guys went at it hard fucking core. Basically, am I missing a promo? I feel like I'm missing a promo between oh, I did miss it. Sorry. There was a promo that happened with Sammy Guevara with Renee Paquette. I actually think I started talking about that and never finished. Renee Paquette was interviewing Sammy Guevara before his match with Jungle Boy, but MJF interrupts him, calls him Gene Simmons on meth with how much he sticks his tongue out. MJF says he wants to pay Guevara off to get in the main event of Double or Nothing and just take the fall, but Guevara refused. MJF handed over a blank check, told Guevara to name his price. MJF is blown away by the price and agrees and shakes his hand. Guevara says friends don't shake hands, they hug, so they hug together. This is what ended up affecting the ending of tonight's match with MJF laying out Jungle Boy on the outside with the referee being distracted. This caused Guevara to win by countout, so Guevara goes on to fight Darby Allin next week, with the winner going on to fight MJF. I would not be surprised if maybe Guevara did like a double cross and ends up going into the main event of Double or Nothing, but coming in as someone who's somehow screwed over MJF. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't want them to do MJF versus Darby Allin. Like I said, like in my personal fantasy booking, I think Darby Allin is supposed to be the last foil for MJF, and that's what that's whom MJF eventually drops the title to. I think MJF should eventually beat Sammy Guevara. I think MJF should eventually beat Jungle Boy. I would not mind them not only seeing them in a fatal four-way, but him beating them all one-on-one before it ends up being Darby. So I know it looks like it's positioned for Darby Allin to win because obviously Darby Allin is a babyface and he's a heavy favorite. But I just do not think that now is the time to pull the trigger on Darby Allin. I think you need to feed MJF the other pillars first. And then I think Darby obviously loses it to another pillar whom I think should probably be Sammy Guevara as like a mega heel to go in and beat a babyface Darby Allin. And then you have Jungle Boy take the most hated hated AEW champion since MJF and put him over as babyface, and that's how I see the next several years playing out, to be honest. But if they put Darby Allin in this main event to fight MJF and MJF beats him, which is definitely going to happen, no way MJF's dropping the belt this early, that kind of blows my fantasy booking out of the water. So, yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's the end of the review. Like I said, it's been pretty much a quiet week in wrestling. Really, a lot of the excitement is going to kick off when we see the pre-sale turnout for All In at Wembley. That's going to be a big deal. The results of Backlash should have some major effect on the storylines going forward. We'll see what they end up doing with Cody. Is he going to just beat Brock in one shot, or are we going to draw this out? Not sure. A lot of things up in the air right now. A lot of moving pieces. We should know, hopefully, a little bit more about Collision, the status of CM Punk, and all of that as the days and weeks go on. So it's going to be an interesting summer, people. And I'm going to be reporting on it every single week, this time at 10 o'clock on this YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're not someone that I know personally, because I pretty much send everyone a link that I know personally. Otherwise, the only way you're going to know that I'm live is through the subscribe. So I hate saying that, but it literally is. If you don't know me personally, that is literally the only way you're going to know I go live. Aside from me telling you Wednesdays at 10 after Dynamite. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I love doing this every week with y'all. Thank you to Josh and Doom in the chat. Episode 60. Great milestone. Thank you all for being on this ride with me. I will see you next week. Take care.